7:15. Thanks for joining us this morning as our candidate interviews continue. And in the house this morning, we have Mr. Bob Udell. He is the Chief Criminal Deputy with the Yakima County Sheriff's Office. I guess you could say like the second guy in charge. Wants to be the first guy in charge, though. When you Yakima County Sheriff.
When you say second criminal deputy for investigations, does that make you nervous about any of the old statute limitations on the earlier crummy behavior?
None whatsoever.
All right, good. Well, let's press
Well,
on.
that's all right, Lance. I'll get a fingerprint before I go.
Grab his coffee cup and dust it on the way out.
Exactly.
Bob, thanks for your time this morning. Thanks for coming in.
Am I right? Kind of the second guy in charge, Chief Criminal
You got
Deputy?
that exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm number 2.
All right. Right. And you have the endorsement of number 1.
I do.
Excellent.
Yeah,
All
pretty
right.
happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, tell us, who are you? And you know, you're on the station where you got all your voters right here listening this morning. So tell us who you are. Tell us about yourself.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I am Bob Udell. I'm running for the office of sheriff, and I've been with the sheriff's office for over 28 years, and it's been a great 28 years. It's been a profession that I didn't think I was going to get into because I went to WSU and got a degree in horticulture, came back and farmed with my dad, and unfortunately, like a lot of dad-son things, it's either going to work or it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And in my case, I moved on to save our relationship. So, and it did without a doubt.
Good.
And during that time, I'd been a volunteer firefighter and had some friends that said, "Why don't you be a cop?" And so I applied for the sheriff's office in the Yakima Police Department. And just months later, I was hired by the sheriff's office, 1990. And it's been a lot of fun ever since then. You know, all of us, I became a patrol deputy, and that was great. And then a few years later, I went into the DARE program. And the DARE program it was one of those jobs I shouldn't have been paid for. You go in the schools, and the kids want to see you. I want to see the kids. It's just a really positive experience. And I don't know if I kept anybody out of drugs or not, but the biggest benefit was the kids got to see that cops were people too, so that was really neat.
Yeah, that I know that there's questions about whether there truly was effective in terms of the research there, but as far as modeling positive, good behavior and changing kids' image about who the law enforcement guys are behind the badge, I think that was a great service to be done. So
it was
good for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, like all programs, they kind of come and go, and hopefully we'll get back in the schools because the schools really are the center of our community, and law enforcement needs to be part of that in a positive way. After that, I was an off-road vehicle deputy, so it was like another job where they probably shouldn't have paid me, or I had a motorcycle in the back of my pickup. Drove around up the hills, rode around with the jeepers and the motorcycle riders and all that. And I look back and like, wow, that was a lot better than driving the tractor up and down the orchard roads at that point.
You probably worked with our good friend Deputy Steve.
Oh, yes, I did.
A lot of time, yeah.
You bet.
Right on.
Yeah, he and I went a long, long ways back. So it was a good job. And then after that, back to patrol for a bit, and then I went into detectives, and I was a major crimes detectives, and did all sorts of felonies, and including homicides, which were for law enforcement officers like the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Investigating stuff, and learned a lot. Wow, that was quite the job. I mean, there's a big difference between DARE and investigating homicides.
No kidding.
I was in there for a few years, and then went into crimes against women and children, and that's when it really started getting different for me.
Yeah.
Those crimes are horrific in the way they affect entire families and even the friends of the families. You know, I tell people it's like throwing a rock into a pond, and the water just ripples out. That's how it affects everybody, and it's a chance to help. Not necessarily maybe make it better or good, but you can help people, and very, very rewarding to me during those times.
When you first started, do you know how many deputies were on the force at that time?
There was about 72 when I started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a big hiring push. So I think they were low for a while, but boy, they hired a bunch of us at the same time.
And you don't have that many now, right?
No, right now we have 61.
Wow. What is that challenge like compared to when you first started? I mean, you still got the same territory and everything, right?
Then we shrunk the county, right?
We do, right? Yeah, the county doesn't shrink.
Yeah.
The cities have gotten bigger. So so it's in some ways it's shrunk for us a little bit with annexations, but it means that we're just sometimes a little bit busier. The good news is the crime rate is not like it was back in the 90s when we had 71, 72, 73 deputies. We were pretty busy, late 80s, early 90s. And now it's not as busy, but it is getting busier, and we're seeing the trends just year by year from 2012 as it's slowly stepping back up again. And so with lower staffing, it's tough because you got to have support staffing as well. You've got to have the detectives and drug detectives and all that kind of stuff that pulls the work away from patrol so patrol can do their job. Because if patrol doesn't have that kind of support, then that makes they're even busier.
So how do you grow the force? I take it that's got to be one of the things that you want to do, right?
That's a good question because as a horticulturist, he knows about growing things. So this should be a good answer, Lance. Stay tuned.
It's too bad there wasn't a little deputy
Pardon
seed.
the pun.
But unfortunately there isn't.
Deputy seed.
Okay. Yeah, it's growing the force is going to be a gradual process. You know, Yakima County is, while a large county and a lot of people live here, our funding sources are actually kind of limited. And the budget's pretty tight. The Board of County Commissioners is in charge of that. The sheriff really doesn't have a lot of power over that. I think we can do a better job of letting the commissioners know what we do and what we need. I see a lot of opportunities in that direction. But we also have to let the community know what we can do and what we can't do. We try to do everything, but sometimes it's not possible. You know, I hear all the time people will say, well, I had to wait for 2 hours for a deputy to get to my burglary. Well, that is true, and sometimes that's just kind of part of living in a county as well, because counties are just spread out where cities, you know, all their officers are pretty much concentrated.
I know this, Lance, that there was a deputy, and I can't mention his name, but he thought one way to help the commissioners know what was going on was with more ride-alongs, only his idea was stuff them in the trunk. and that was voted down. That isn't happening.
I know.
Well, I mean, it was a creative approach, I have to say.
See, I was going to try to get funny, and I'm not going to do that.
I'll handle that. You handle the real questions.
Yeah, okay, yeah. What are some of the things that the office needs that you'd like to go to the commissioners with?
One thing's more people. I mean, more people is huge, but not just more people. We need more support staff. We need some more of the tools that make us more effective. Because if we're not going to get more people, we need to become more effective. That's really important. So we've been going to the commissioners here lately, asking for money for better computer programs, you know, things like that to make us efficient. The Spillman, our information system, has a program called Spillman Analytics that where the deputies can click on to icons on a map and shows exactly what that call is. They can search for areas, like, for instance, draw a great big geocentric circle around some part of Yakima and ask for all the burglaries in the last 2 weeks. That's something we're rolling out. So it's just a matter of information sharing and getting it out there to make the guys more efficient. And when I say guys, we actually have two gals in our force. One which is brand new and we hadn't fired or hired. That didn't come out right. Didn't hire a gal in over 20 years. So, and it wasn't like we didn't like girls.
Yeah.
It's just they weren't getting on our list with the way that we hire. So it was pretty exciting to hire another gal to work out there.
When you look at what's happening with the Yakima County Sheriff's Office now, is this something that you planned in your future to want to become the next Yakima County Sheriff? I think it surprised everybody what happened. Certainly, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was shocking. I remember when Sheriff Winter told me about his diagnosis back in December. It like took the air right out of the room, and I realized it was. Not only was his life changed, but everybody else is down there at the sheriff's office.
Right.
So I never really had planned on being a sheriff. My wife, who's in the room right now, is remarkably silent.
Well done, ma'am. Well done. So she's just showing restraint.
She had really started to think that retirement might not be bad, and I thought that maybe in a year or two I might do that. But I still enjoy the job so much, and with the Sheriff Winter not being able to run, it was necessary to protect the progress, because really in the last few years we have made so many changes, so many positive changes, gone so many good places. The morale is good of the agency, our reputation in the community is good. It's just I want to keep that going. And so here I am.
Let me share with you.
Seated in front of this great big orange microphone.
Let me share with you what our sheriff has said. As is no surprise, I'm endorsing my second in command at the Yakima County Sheriff's Office, Chief Robert Udell, in his bid to become the next Yakima County Sheriff. Bob has served as an appointed chief under both myself and previous Sheriff Ken Irwin since 2013, uniquely positioned to smooth the transition when I retire at the end of the year. With almost 3 decades of law enforcement experience at YCSO, Chief Udell has the leadership skills, the knowledge, and experience necessary to lead this excellent public service agency into the future. He has my full support and confidence. Also, and equally important to me, he's committed to continuing the progress we've made over the last 4 years and to maintaining even
improving the partnerships we have built. My one request is that he really treats his wife super nice. And wait, whoa. Apparently someone has written this on here. Was that you, ma'am? Was that you? The first part was the sheriff's, and let's face it, that's a pretty good endorsement from a guy who's already won the county support.
It is. Yeah, it really is. And he's done a good job. And I think probably the number one thing that he's done is he has made our reputation, our partnerships with other agencies, not just outside the county, but inside the county, so much better. And that's important. We're not a big agency. You know, with 61 deputies,
the more friends you have, the better, right?
Absolutely. Sometimes, when something bad happens, you need all your friends. And if you don't have a good reputation with your neighbors, things can get tight. And so those relationships now are so much better. And we're just going to keep building on those.
Well, I think that there's plenty of quality competition, people that want the job, that have experience and all of that. So win, lose, or draw, the county's going to get somebody, I think, very likely that can continue the kind of progress that we've made, as you've said. Let's do it this way. You're stuck in an elevator with Dave and Lance. Don't envy that on anybody. Your wife's frantically pushing the button. Open the door. But it's not opening, ma'am. Sorry. So that gives you 4 floors to make your pitch. Tell us and everybody else listening in why they should vote for Bob Udell for county sheriff. So here's your chance to speak to the masses.
I've got the experience. After 28 years and 12 or 13 of them as a supervisor and management, I know that agency up and down. I know what we do well. I know what our challenges are. We have made so many changes in the last 3 or 4 years, and I've got literally 18 months of changes planned out. I mean, we are moving in the right direction. Although it did surprise me, even though 61 deputies, we are kind of a big ship, and things don't happen overnight. It takes a while to get things going. I am all in with this community. My wife and I ride motorcycles all over the western United States, and every time I come back to this valley, you ride in and think, this is really a neat place. We almost get, I guess, used to it. That some of the things that we come to expect are really kind of neat. I've lived here my entire life, and I think the sheriff's office has a pivotal role in a lot of the way things can be done around here. The sheriff's office should be that agency that pulls other law enforcement together. And the sheriff has a pedestal to stand on for a lot of issues, not just crime issues, but the sheriff gets a lot of comments, complaints, and requests, not even about law enforcement, because he's so visible.
Right. Top elected law person.
Absolutely.
You bet.
For the county, he's the most visible guy. The commissioners are there, but it's the sheriff that takes a lot of those issues under his wing. And finally, really, as a deputy, being the sheriff is the final step. There's no other position, no other law enforcement position in this county where I can have as much impact in my career as being sheriff. And that is my pitch right there.
Well done. Oh, and look, it's the 17th floor, just where the wife wanted to go. Shopping. Okay, good. Bob, thank you for your time. Thank you for your service, all those years of service, from helping shattered families to helping impress kids to solving crimes to you name it. We really, really appreciate the work that you and others have done.
Thank you,
the ringing endorsement doesn't hurt at all.
That's right.
And should you get through this process, we will have you back, sir, where we will ask the deep, probing, twisted questions that only a Tormey can ask. But till then, best of good luck at the primary.